Jazz clubs around the world are sitting empty, but jazz musicians will always have great music and stories to share. And since jazz fans aren't able to get out to hear great music, we will deliver jazz to you at home. Welcome to Jazz Home Delivery with Tim Tamashiro. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jazz Home Delivery. I'm Tim Tamashiro, here with a very special edition because we have a very special guest from New York City. Today we're being joined by Kurt Elling, Grammy Award-winning vocalist, and he's got a brand new album out. We're going to talk all about that. Really excited to have you. Kurt Elling is with us here in the room. Hello, sir.
Hey, Tim. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing very good. Thank you so much for being part of this TD JazzYYC virtual festival.
Happy to be here for this now. I hope it can all happen when the time comes and I can come up there and sing for everybody.
This is the situation. You know, all musicians, all jazz musicians are in the exact same boat together. And now that there aren't concert halls and airplanes and hotel rooms for you, what does life look like for you right now?
Well, this is the longest straight period of time that my wife and I have spent together, I think, since we met 27 years ago. And that's been beautiful, rewarding, and also a challenge because I'm kind of a handful. But I've been able to hang out with my kids, and, not miss a beat with them. And, you try to make the best of it, as with everything else, and try to be resourceful. Mm-hmm. The hardest part has been, physiologically and emotionally, mentally not being able to do my thing.
Yeah.
No matter how much you rehearse in your house, you're still not interacting with other musicians in the same way. And You're still not, in my case, singing at full volume. There's just nothing like an actual performance to get out there and really do it. But, I'm in such a fortunate position vis-a-vis so many people in the world as this is going down that it would be wrong for me to make any kind of complaint out of it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, there is definitely a silver lining for staying at home and staying safe. And we just have to find new tools in order to be able to stay healthy and happy. So do you feel like you're able to work out your voice at all in a way that's going to be effective for you?
To some extent. I mean, I keep it in shape and everything, but there's just nothing like the energy of a performance.
Yeah,
you can't fake that.
Yeah. So you've been doing some stuff in order to be able to keep yourself busy. I see you're doing a cocktail hour.
Yes, I'm drinking plenty.
Tell me what you do with your cocktail hour.
Well, it takes quite a lot of preparation during the week because we like to have some musical segments, and those all have to be pre-recorded because of the lag time between different computers and everything like that. So that has to be sorted. And then, for instance, I had Sheila Jordan on last week, and I wanted to make the most of my time with her and, get the most interesting conversation happening. And that takes a certain amount of research. Mm-hmm. And, as as an interviewer, composing questions in advance so that you have more than you can actually get to, and that they're in a sensible order, and, that you get the best, you set the stage for the best possible conversation.
Yeah. And you would know these people personally, though, too. So I mean, there's that special connection that you have.
Yeah, there's a special connection, but you still don't want to just, hey, how's it going? You, hey man, what's shaking? How are the kids? Like that. That's not the same thing as what people are going to tune in for.
Yeah, for sure. I noticed one more thing that you're doing online. It's called Masterclass Monday. Tell us what that's all about and what it is that you're helping people understand or learn during this time.
Well, a lot of young people, and not just young people, but, so many of the students, as you know, have been missing out on the second semester of school or the spring semester, whatever you want to call it. And they want to continue learning and they want to continue growing. And usually I don't have the time to put in, because I'm out on the road and I'm real tired from that, or I've got a gig to deal with, or I've got an airport to sit in. So to, I want to make the most of this time of being stationary, and I want to help some people out if I can. So, we made it possible for a number of students, conservatory students from around the world, to tune in. I worked with 3 of them individually. And as always, I try to make it so that whomever I'm working with, the advice that I might be able to give them is applicable to whoever's listening in, even if I'm not directly listening to their singing. So we did that, and we're looking for a way to expand that. I don't think it's going to be once a week anytime soon, not through the summer, because we're actually moving back to Chicago. Oh, you are? My house is all in disarray at this point because we've got packing boxes and everything like that. I've had a wonderful adventure here in New York City, but we've adopted a little man. Oh. And so in addition to our beautiful 14-year-old daughter, who gets to go to the Arts Conservatory in Chicago this year, starting this year, then our little man, needs some grandparents around. And so we're going to try to hook that up.
You're getting the best of all worlds.
I hope so. That's the plan.
It's amazing. Good for you. Congratulations. Is your the home you're moving back to, is that the one you bought from the Obamas?
It's not the same apartment. We still own that, but that's rented out to a real lovely family that's associated with the University of Chicago. So we don't want to kick them out. And,
of course not. No.
We'll figure out another situation for ourselves.
There's some good mojo in that house, though, too. There's a lot of love.
I should think. And there's a couple of houseplants that the Obamas laid on us when we first bought the place, and they've grown from this high to whatever, taking over the dining room now. So that's fun.
Whoa, that's amazing. So you have, if you're future renters, just so you know, you have to have a green thumb.
Yes, you got to keep the plants alive.
You got to keep the plants alive. There's something to think of. And there's the name of a song title for you, Kurt.
There you go. They're all over the place.
Tell me about your brand new album with Danilo Perez. I love the title, Secrets Are the Best Stories. Tell us about this album.
Well, it's a collaboration between Danilo and me, as you mentioned. I've been looking for several years. You bide your time with certain artists that you want to work with and collaborate with. And this was the time, as the great hero Wayne Shorter is unable to tour at this point, then the members of his band have a little bit more time on their hands. And Danilo and I have had a special connection for a bunch of years, ever since he was working with Jon Hendricks. That was his first road gig, was going out with Jon Hendricks. So I caught him in that scenario, and then I caught him with his own band when he was at the Jazz Showcase in Chicago several times, and we'd go out and talk about music and philosophy afterwards. And we'd see each other on the scene, and he was always a real enthusiast. I mean, I'm sure if you've met him, you know how delightful and energetic he is. And this was a time when we got together. This was well before COVID-19 was dictating the policy of the world. And what we have in America, as I'm sure you're well aware, what we have in the States is quite an insane and treacherous political situation that's deeply disturbing, disheartening, and destructive, corrosive to democracy. And I mean, I could go on. I'm sure you've been paying attention, whether you've wanted to or not.
Yeah. It's kind of obvious what's happening.
And I specifically wanted to address a lot of the situation having to do with bigotry and the situation with migrant populations and the way fascism and racism was playing out. And I'm not really a protest singer as such.
Yeah.
But I'm I notice, I pay attention to the ghosts of history and the way they continue to revisit us and the way history continues to echo and rebound and reverberate. And so Danilo, as a native of Panama, somebody who really understands from that viewpoint, from an immigrant's viewpoint, that was a natural thing for us to work on. And we both also wanted to do something to talk about the power of women in the world. And again, it's tough for me to be explicit. I don't know how to be poetic and say women are so great, or I'm so mad about the way we're treating migrants, or I'm so mad about this. So it's a lot more my style and speed to go into I won't say a hall of mirrors, because that sounds more confusing than I want it to be. It's much more my I need to sing for the highest good of the music. And thankfully Danilo had several compositions that he was able to bring to the table that needed lyrics, that had very pointed emotional energies that he was going for, that resonated with what I wanted to go for. So we have stories on these on the recording that I don't intend them to be obscure, but they're not coming from the easiest, most easily apprehended scenarios. It's not about Jack and Jill. It's about an escaped slave father trying to cross the Ohio River, and the epiphany and spiritual awakening and the maybe disastrous end to that story as he's unable to cross the Ohio with his children. And that's a piece that's dedicated to Toni Morrison. Danilo and his excellent wife had developed a very close relationship with Toni Morrison toward the end of her life. And so he had brought a specific idea to the table. There's a piece that has to do with a fictional piece, a fictional lyric that has to do with my coming home from gigs, coming home from the road, and there's a Holocaust survivor on one of the floors of my apartment building, and he always hides whenever I come home. I don't know that he's a Holocaust survivor. I just know there's an old guy on the second floor, and and then a fire comes, and they bring him out, and he's sitting next to me, and he says, I've hidden away from you. I've seen a fire like this before. They came to get my family.
Oh gosh.
And you look just like the SS man that took my family away.
Is this a fictional story, or is this something that actually happened for you?
It's a fictional story, but it wouldn't have surprised me if it would have happened. I mean, thankfully my actual ancestors were out of Germany well before World War II, and so my specific people took no part in that. But that doesn't mean that in the family of humankind that they're all my people. We are all each other's people.
Amen.
And so the ghosts that reverberate, and I often notice, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, people's faces fall into categories that resemble one another. And you see the ghosts of the past walking around with people's living faces now. These things, this is why secrets to me are the best stories, because they're kind of hiding in plain sight, but they need to be revealed and remembered and explored. And it's not like my people and I are blameless in the face of history. I mean, when my forebears came to the United States, they were able to move into the incredible, beautiful, wide open, sweeping plains of Minnesota. But they were able to do that because the native peoples that had occupied that land for hundreds of thousands of years had been decimated by plague and by war and by being pushed off of their own land. And they were in reservations not 10 miles from the homestead that my people took up.
Yeah. Very true.
And here I am benefiting even now from that largesse, if that's what you want to call it. I'm benefiting from that appropriation, really, is a better way to put it. And so, I mean, the things I try to at least be aware of. And so those are the kinds of stories that come out on this recording. And I hope it's not just a downer of a recording. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of blessings within it, but I don't feel like it's a time, at least for me, to just sing jazz standards or the Pollyanna. It's not that easy of a time.
Is it thoughtful activism?
I mean, I hope it is. Sometimes I feel a little guilty because it's like, really, is that all I can do is make a record? So, you know, like I say, we've adopted our little friend. He was our foster son. And, you know, we're moving, and there's a lot of things that are going to go to Goodwill and a lot of things that are going to go to the shelter. But, I mean, I'm no hero of anything when I look in the news and see the pain, and I see the real heroes that are out there really putting it on the line.
But you're planting ideas, and that's and planting ideas is a major part of the process, right? It's gonna make a difference at some point.
Perhaps, and having conversations, and maybe the music helps. I hope it does. It helps a little. I know poetry helps a little. You got to go someplace to hear in a heightened experience and have your regular everyday experience heightened for you by the works of art. Yeah. But you know, we'll keep trying our best, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited to play this video of you and Danilo playing together. This is the video for stage 1, and there are 3 stages, I understand.
There are 3 stages. We do stage 1, and then we do stage 2 and stage 3. I wish this was my composition, but it's not. It's a lyric from a marvelous singer from Norway named Sidsel Endresen. And I really like lyricists that create mystery. And this is a great one, but it's also it's a revealing mystery. Again, it's a secret that's revealed.
And it's a beautiful, for the listeners, for the viewers, you can listen for these first few stanzas. It says, like being in a story, like starring in a play. And what a beautiful way to start off a story. What's going to happen? Boy, it really makes you lean in. So I'm going to play this now for everybody and let them experience the joy of just you and Danilo Perez in a room with a couple of microphones and a piano. It's wonderful. Kurt Elling is here as part of the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days. This is a virtual festival, and we're very, very excited to have Kurt Elling together with his friend Danilo Perez. This is stage 1.
Story, like starring in a play, acting out some destiny far, far away from anywhere, like watching yourself walk down the street, like what's new, tossing your hair, like watching people watching you, like hanging out in no town, like you knew the lingo, like flying kites from a basement window. like checking it out, saying to yourself, yes, okay, yes. Like being someone, like going somewhere. Like astral weeks for months on end, and always blue, mean old daddy, and do the way young lovers do, like finding the moon and painting it white like a bridal gown, like being with someone, like we were going somewhere, like a Chelsea morning, like a tender berry. Oh, darling, like I was never there.
Kurt Elling together with Danilo Perez and their composition. Well, they're performing stage one. What a delicious way to perform, just you and Danilo. Is this something that you anticipate doing on the road?
Well, it was our hope, and we had a bunch of dates all lined up, and of course that all went away. Now it's going to be a question of whether we can reschedule and how much of it. But yes, for sure. I mean, we both love a lot of freedom, and we love to support each other in that freedom, and try to create new melodies out in that kind of expanse.
Yeah, well, it's delicious just to hear just the two of you. I feel
Thank
like
you.
that's just, you've got just the right amount of spice.
Ah, that's nice. Thank you.
It's really delicious. Kurt Elling, thank you so much for being on Jazz Home Delivery. I know you have a busy life right now, especially at home and planning a move. When is your move scheduled for, or can you even plan for that now?
Well, we've got a plan. I think we'll be in the new place by the 4th of July. So.
Well, there'll be a big celebration at the Elling house that day, I'm sure.
That's right.
That's amazing. Right. I wanted to thank you on behalf of JazzYYC and the virtual festival. I know it's a special time for you to be at home, and we really do appreciate you spending time with us for this special edition. Kurt Elling with us here on the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days, and we have a bunch of sponsors that we want to thank. Boy, we wouldn't be able to put this thing together without them. Here are the sponsors. JazzYYC would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support that has helped bring this virtual jazz festival to you. TD, Jazz Home Delivery, the City of Calgary, Alberta Foundation for the Arts, the Government of Canada, Calgary Arts Development, Inglewood BIA, CKUA Radio, Calgary Public Library, CADME, the Coalition for Music Education, Music Monday, Studio Bell, home of the National Music Center, Decidedly Jazz Danceworks, Arts Commons, and the Music Mile. Thank you. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, please subscribe to this page, and if you want to receive more information about this or any of JazzYYC's other upcoming programming, please visit jazzyyc.com and become a member.